Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, we welcome you in. The new drug today is day 2 in the new digs. Do you remember how to get here?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, no issues.
Is it faster
I'm enjoying it.
Faster or slower for you?
A little faster.
Yeah.
Not ton, but over the course of a year, it probably adds up to a heck of amount of time that I'm saving.
How about you, JJ?
What about you?
Faster?
3 minutes faster,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess if we extrapolate that, I get like a whole, I don't even know, a movie.
Your life will change. Is
Yeah,
what'll happen.
it really
I mean,
will.
That's what's gonna
I'll
happen.
tell you what has affected me, the fact that we have windows and
windows.
can see outside.
You know-
I know I said that yesterday
you know-
with nature, but
You know
I
what we're-
love it.
You know what we're seeing?
Nature.
I mean, you get an afternoon with some nature. I mean
Look, there's a deer.
We got nature.
There's a deer.
I mean,
Oh, he's just been
you
shot.
got big old oak trees and some moss. I mean, how
Is that quail?
How often do you get moss in a radio show?
Not
There's
very
moss.
often.
I mean, there's moss and
Now that's Spanish moss.
well, a Rolling Stone gathers none of it. I
That's
can tell
true.
you that.
There was joggers earlier.
Okay.
So there's even humans.
There's nature and
Yes,
joggers
yes.
in the same radio show. This is fantastic. I mean, it never leaves. So there's that. So I better I put some trinkets on my cubicle.
Oh, good.
You know what? You're that's on your cubicle. You know, see.
I've noticed that. He's actually he's made the meeting room into his own office now. I've noticed that.
I
respect that.
So you were there, not at your cubicle. Why is that?
That's correct.
I want to know why.
It's just
I
comfort.
mean, they gave you a cubicle to work in.
They did, and it's a great cubicle. But I'm like the wanderer. I like to wander.
I brought
around and
I brought trinkets.
Find a little.
They put my cubicle next to your cubicle, and I put trinkets in it. You got no trinkets.
Maybe that's why he's not in his
Because now we're getting to the bottom of the
put it
story.
right
The
next
rest
to
of the
you.
story is Paul Harvey would say. Hey, glad you're with us today on the program. A lot of fun things to get to. Sports and Courts comes up in just a bit. Brett Hastings is gonna go deep into this Mark Sanchez thing. What a crazy story.
Well,
you know?
and the thing I can't wait to ask him is, why would Fox be liable?
Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy story. So there's a lot about it, and so did Mark Sanchez just beat up the 69-year-old guy? And
Sounds
so
like
the guy, he beat him up. So the guy grabbed the knife because he was getting beat up by the 38-year-old guy. It's crazy. And who is ultimately liable? It's going to be a crazy story. So that's Sports and Courts. It'll be a fun one coming up.
Because I think Sanchez or the victim is suing Sanchez and the network.
Yeah. Well, Fox has a lot of money. So
Well, I get that, but I don't know why. I
Yeah,
mean,
well-
just because you hire a guy to cover a game,
Yeah, I'm with you.
you're liable
So-
if the person freaks out. I don't
guess
know.
we'll
He'll
find-
tell.
The
That's
story
why he's
was
the expert.
even crazier because in this world of social media, of course, we saw like, oh, Mark Sanchez got stabbed. So immediately everyone's like, oh, he's the victim, and then it slowly
That's what I
trickles
thought at
out.
first,
Yeah,
yeah,
of course.
yeah.
And then like an hour later, like, what? He did what? He's
Yeah.
being charged with crimes?
And
And then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
he did this.
And we've been to Indianapolis a number of times. I mean,
Right.
Obviously you go there every year for the Jaguars. You go there every year for the Combine. And, I mean, I've never once felt threatened in Indianapolis. Have
Right.
you?
No,
like,
no,
now I
no,
don't
and
stay out till 3 a.m.
But like you, I mean, the
it's-
downtown's clean.
Yeah,
and
it
very,
never is
I
seems-
agree with you. It's
But
a
have
good-
you been there the same time as Mark Sanchez?
Well,
I have
that's the
not.
thing. And I tell you what, and if I do, I'm walking on the other side of the
Hell
street.
yeah,
And
yeah.
let me tell you what else I'm not doing. I'm not pulling up in my box truck. Okay,
Yeah.
I've made that decision.
I don't
too,
think you
okay?
have to worry about
I'm not-
seeing Mark Sanchez in the wild for some
for a
time.
while. So, all right, so that'll be Sports and Courts comes up in a bit. We'll talk more Jaguar football. The question today, not the question, but the next step in the maturation of this team, and they've matured greatly, is the letdown game. Is to not have the letdown game, and I'm sure that's if you're Liam Cohen and you're so good at managing the psychology of this stuff, which he is, that's the thing.
Isn't
right?
it great that that's a storyline?
Yes, I mean, can you imagine?
How
Yeah.
long have we waited
Yeah.
to have the
Yeah.
will you be so good that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
kind of forget to focus for a game conversation?
I remember focusing on that in '98. Okay, it was a good show we had. Okay, and then Lamb and I might have been doing it. So
Yeah.
that's what it was. So we'll talk about that. And I want to get to the Gators. We didn't get to it yesterday because I thought yesterday should be a day we celebrate the Jaguars, and we did. But what now? They right when you leave them for dead, they beat a top 10 team. They clearly outplayed them. They let them back in ways they probably shouldn't have, but they still clearly outplayed them in the game. Do they have a chance at A&M? If they win now, what does it do to the hot seat? I got a lot of thoughts about that, and we'll get to that coming up. That'll be one of our lead stories today.
Yeah, we didn't have a show Monday, so.
That's right. We weren't on the air Monday because, good point, because of the Monday night game. So we really haven't a chance to dive into the Gators. We do have Shane Matthews, Tom Block, and Joe Zagacki today, so we'll talk a lot of college football coming up later on as well. And I want to get into the Noles. How good are the Noles? We talked about Miami looks like an NFL team. Miami's a playoff team, and Miami might get deep. They're built like an NFL team. Like the Matt Leinart USC teams were. That to me is what it looks like. It's what it feels like. But I want to get to the Noles. Are the Noles really good, like the team that walloped Alabama? Are they not good, like the team that lost at Virginia? I think it's great that they lost 28-22, but they were down 28-3. You know, and I do think Miami took the foot off the gas a little bit when it got to 28-3 in that game. And so who are the Noles? And maybe some of the warts you were concerned about earlier, they're one-dimensional a little bit with Tommy Castellanos pulled that. So we'll get to that.
Yeah, Saturday against Pitt, that's one of those frangy, like, this is a game you cannot lose.
That's correct.
If you're Mike Norvell.
That's correct. You've got the ones you want to win and the ones you can't lose, and that's it cannot lose. So we'll certainly talk about that. So we got all kind of fun stuff that we're going to get to on the program today. So we'll get to all of that. Kevin Kaplan stops by in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll have our medical report. We always look forward to that. And again, the college football report. Brett Hastings here in just a few minutes for Sports and Courts. I will say this. I'm going to get to the Gators, but again, the Jaguars are the hot thing. I'm going to start with the Jags. I don't sense that this is a team that will be susceptible to a letdown other than everybody from time to time is susceptible to a letdown. The reality is that's a real thing. It just is.
Seattle may just beat them.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, because they're better that day.
And correct. Yeah. But, I mean, Buffalo just lost to New England.
Right.
I mean,
Cleveland beat the Packers.
That's correct. But when this incarnation of Buffalo, which looks like the best team in the National Football League, at least a quarter turn in, they look like the best team in the league. When this group of Bills can lose to the New England Patriots, who are clearly in the middle of a long rebuild, that tells you anything can happen. And in Buffalo, a home game, Buffalo is at home, maybe the best team in the league, certainly among the best 2 or 3 teams in the league, and loses a home game to a team clearly in the middle of a rebuild. It can happen to anybody. And so we'll talk about it, but it is a topic. But I don't believe, and I believe it on my heart, that Liam Cohen is built for this. Now he's human. They're human. At some point, they're going to mess something up.
Yeah, he's not going to win 80% of his games.
But I believe he will manage that part of it well.
I agree. I think the other thing that I think helps Liam in this case is they've got so many things they need to improve on. I mean, if you're Liam Cohen, all you have to do is say, hey, offense, you're 22nd in the league on third down. Oh, by the way, defense, you're 30th in the league on third down. So, I mean, there's plenty that they can get better at, and that's just one example.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think, like, I may pick Seattle. Seattle may win Sunday, but I don't think it's going to be because of a letdown. I think Seattle's good, and this is a league of matchups, and Seattle presents some matchups that I think are going to be difficult for the Jaguars.
Yeah,
now that works. The Jaguars have some things that certainly the Seahawks could have trouble with, but I don't think it has anything to do with an emotional letdown. That would stun me.
Yeah,
it wouldn't stun me if the Jaguars lost, but I'd be stunned if they didn't show up and they were lethargic.
Your point is, in the NFL, people beat each other. Now, college football is becoming that, but college football's not been that. In the NFL, people do, so we'll see. All right, so a lot of fun things to get to. Let's take a break. When we come back, let's bring in our friend Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. The Mark Sanchez story is crazy. We'll delve deep into it after this on Sports and Courts. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Franchi Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Get the weekend feeling all day Friday.
Best feeling in the world, isn't it?
That's why we give you Pre-Game Friday.
You're going to love this.
Get the news, notes, and inside stuff you need to get ready for game day. Built by Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. When you need plumbing, septic, or air conditioning service, trust matters. That's why more homeowners in Jacksonville choose Duck Duck Rooter, the area's most trusted service company. They're licensed, insured, and the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida. From small plumbing repairs to major renovations and full air conditioning service, they do it all. And with Duck Duck, it's done right. Call 904-862-6769 or visit DuckDuckRooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter. If the Jags trust Duck Duck Rooter, so can you.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On October 8, 1956, Yankees pitcher Don Larson throws the only perfect game in postseason history in Game 5 of the World Series against the Dodgers.
Frank Frangie here for South State Bank. South State has helped our businesses and charity grow and thrive. Whether you're expanding your operations, managing cash flow, or planning for the future, South State Bank offers forward-thinking, tailored solutions to meet your unique business needs. With expert guidance and best-in-class service, South State is here to help you move your business forward. Visit southstatebank.com or stop by your local branch today. Let South State become your partner in taking your business to the next level. That's South State Bank, member FDIC.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Universal Roof and Contracting presents the Offensive Player of the Game. Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is universal.
Trevor Lawrence was heroic on Monday in Jacksonville. The teal and black quarterback recorded 221 yards on 18 of 25 attempts and scored 3 touchdowns, with 2 coming on the ground. Lawrence made sure to leave the contest as the BMOC, big man on campus, and he's your Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save up to 20% on roof replacements and repairs now through September 30th. Financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. Hey Jacksonville, Lauren Brooks here for Big Chief Tire. Right now, you can get 6-month financing through the CFNA credit card and $50 off your first purchase when you sign up. It's a smart way to handle big vehicle needs like new tires, brakes, or repairs without the upfront cost. With no interest for 6 months, there's never been a better time to schedule. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
I'm Frank Frangie, and I just got back from the farm at Okefenokee. Man, it's incredible. Just an hour north of Jacksonville and Folkestone. I was so impressed. It's about connecting with nature, with food, with community. And now you can own your very own handcrafted cabin tucked into a 1,000-acre regenerative farm. Everything you need is there. You'll hardly need to go grocery shopping. Learn more about all of it at okefarm.com. That's OKEfarm.com, the farm at Okefenokee.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental,
Located in Bartram Park.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Now time for Sports and Courts, legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
Brett Hastings is here. How was your weekend? Did you do
it? Was great.
What did you hang out, stayed at home all weekend?
No.
Did you go anywhere? Where'd
Went
you go?
down to Florida, Texas.
Oh, you did go down there.
Did.
Yeah.
Had a good time.
Who won that game?
Yeah.
The Gators.
Okay.
The
Did you
Gators.
sit?
Billy Napier didn't win the game, but the Gators did.
Then you stayed home Monday night, just hung out.
No. We, as you know, we just merged law firms.
Yeah.
Had a big party. Only thing better than tailgating is railgating. So we had our biggest railgate ever. It was phenomenal.
What, 2 or 3 people, 10 people there?
We had about 150 people.
About that. He's so
coming out.
swanky. You know, he's a swanky lawyer guy is what we got here.
We had Brandon Spikes as a celebrity bartender. Yeah, nobody acts up. They don't want to get no Sean Moreno.
You know what?
It was
it's a great
joy.
point. You know, and when Brandon Spike says you cut off, you cut off. Okay, there's no doubt about
I felt bad. I didn't get him a parking pass, and I was going to give it to him in Gainesville with Carr. And then I did talk to Verlander. Verlander goes, "We know who Brandon Spikes is, and we're going to let him park."
Right.
That's one where you go up to the bar and you're like, "Excuse me, sir."
That's right. Yeah, I'd like a beer if it's okay with you. Okay, you decide. So, hey, tell me about this Mark Sanchez thing. It keeps getting legs every day. First of all, the backstory. What happened?
After calling the Colts, who'd they play? Colts Raiders.
Okay,
game.
It was after the game.
After the game, came back to the hotel, and there was a parking altercation. But this was a commercial truck.
Yeah.
And somehow they were bringing it up to the loading dock, and they started arguing about parking or how the driver of the truck was coming up.
Okay.
And so he's up in the truck, and Sanchez and him started going at it.
Well,
and then
Sanchez has a problem how this guy's, even though he's just staying at the hotel.
Correct.
Okay.
And so haven't had a chance to see it yet, but the law enforcement has a video that was there at the loading dock.
Right.
And that was, as I understand it from the media reports that I've had a chance to read, that was, the primary driving factor for the charges. And he ultimately, Sanchez, went into the truck. The driver had pepper spray and began pepper spraying him. That wasn't enough to stop Mark. He pulled out a knife and began to stab Sanchez. I think Sanchez overpowered him. The gentleman was 69 years old and ended up with much more serious bodily injuries. Ended up being charged for felony battery, and because
Sanchez
of the
did.
Yeah, Sanchez. Because of the extent of those injuries, essentially.
What about breaking into the truck?
Yeah,
Isn't that
he got
something?
charged for that as well. And that's probably the primary factor in who gets charged here, right? Because who's the aggressor? It's the person going into the truck.
Yeah.
We don't know this, but I think it's probably safe to assume that there's no video evidence, right? That the driver was coming out or doing anything else. And he was also charged for public intoxication, and all indications are that he was really drunk.
Okay, so Sanchez is really drunk. He takes issue with where the guy's parking the truck, which I still don't understand why, unless he was driving and if he needed the parking spot. So nobody knows those answers yet, right?
Right. And on a scale of 1 to DEFCON 5, this is a DEFCON 5 weird sports and court story. For that reason, why is a broadcaster, confronting somebody to that extent?
I understand why the victim would sue Sanchez, obviously, but how does Fox become? I understand Fox has obviously got a lot of money, but from a legal standpoint, why would Fox be liable for Sanchez's behavior?
Most likely that'd be a really weak claim. At this point, they may hire a lawyer. The civil case, we would never file a civil case immediately because really law enforcement's conducting the investigation, right? In a normal personal injury case, I literally got off the phone when I was out here in JJ's Nature Preserve coming in, and I was talking to our investigator who's doing a download of a commercial vehicle, right? So when you have a criminal case going on, law enforcement's doing that for you, which is third-party evidence. So right now, I doubt that lawsuit's going to go forward. You would most likely sue the parent employer if you got to that point, but ultimately, that's not going to be a very strong claim unless, somebody in the real world, here it's a little different with Sanchez, but he has had criminal episodes in the past. He's had allegations of rape. The charge would be, believe it or not necessarily those actions, but failure to supervise or a failure to check out somebody's background. And so if somebody has a violent background and then you brought them to Indianapolis, you put them in that area, that could be the basis to be able to sue them. And so at this point in time, the lawyers may not know, what else there is.
Let me correct a few things. It actually was before the game, Brett. It was actually because they brought in Brady Quinn to do the game, so it's actually the day before the game. But nonetheless, it doesn't change the story. So
12:30 a.m. on the 4th.
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
Which was Saturday morning. Yeah, so it actually was before the game. So they brought in Brady Quinn to do the game, and they mentioned that they wouldn't have Sanchez. But back to the story. Let me ask you this: in a civil suit like this, what determines the damages? How bad he got beat up? Medical bills. I mean, how does that whole thing work?
It's the same thing in all of the cases that we handle, right? You're entitled to your economics. That's your past medicals. What's really important are what are your future medicals, right? If there's some permanency need for another surgery or those types of things, and that's why we hire life care planners. That's what we help clients to do, is to figure out from now going forward, what is the cost? And then the last are what we call human damages, right? They're non-economic, but that's pain and suffering, loss of convenience, disfigurement, all of those types of things. And we typically make like a per diem argument and say, okay, if for the rest of your life you lose the leg, you no longer have the use of your leg, well, you'd be entitled to that on a daily basis.
Okay.
And it usually you just suggest to a jury a range, and then the jury says, hey, based on the evidence and ultimately how much they like the plaintiff, our client, and then they, it's subjective, but they can decide, hey, that's $5 a day or that's $500,000 a day.
Does the victim's age, 69 years old, does that qualify for any sort of elder abuse charge? And what kind of prison time could Sanchez get for this?
Up to 6 years as it's currently charged, in Indiana. I don't know. I didn't see anything from the charges that there was an escalator from that. The only thing that I saw, it was a battery, which again is actually or intentionally touching someone against their will. What's making it a felony this time is that there's serious bodily injury as a result of that battery. So that's why they got charged with this.
So what would you? He's not going to get 6 years.
What's going to happen?
But do you think he goes to prison for 18 months?
I doubt that he goes that long in state court. I think there's probably going to be mandatory substance abuse, anger management, those types of things, and then a jail term that would probably be, relatively reasonable.
Like 90 days?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But he's probably going to go to jail for a little bit.
I would think so.
Yeah. I'm wondering that too. How much? And again, we don't. I'm asking you a question we don't know the answer to, but I'm going somewhere with this. Brett, how much would a claim he might have that we don't know yet, would that affect this? If I don't know if he
Who's Sanchez?
Yeah, if Sanchez says the guy pulled the knife before he ever threw a punch, and he turns around the self-defense thing, and it doesn't look like that's happening because we've got enough information. But that would change the conversation, right?
Right. That's gonna be. Factually, they're going to try to come up with some defense in that nature.
That would be
right?
it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Hey, I was defending myself or whatever.
Right. I shouldn't have gone up there and talked to him. I was trying to take his phone away. He stabbed me. That type of stuff. And then, the jury's going to come out. The tough thing is that it's a truck, but let's just think of your house.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes up to your house, comes into your house, and then and only then do you brandish a weapon, it's so radically different than if somebody's walking around with a weapon in a hotel parking lot looking for that. At best you'd think this is like almost mutual combat or something like that. But here, from what we know and from what we would assume has been reviewed on the video, because there's no way these charges were filed without the DA, law enforcement, and everybody looking at that video. And once they looked at that video, they didn't try to choose, the person who was in this vehicle. They chose Sanchez. So I would think that he was aggressive, and it was clear that he was the one, initiating the incident.
Will they be able to figure out the level of intoxication for Sanchez?
Yes, and that's what I think is really interesting in this case. Sanchez got arrested at the hospital, right? So the victim in this case was injured pretty significantly, and evidently he was. So most likely they would take blood or check any of those things about part of what they do. That then can become a big legal dispute, right? As to whether or not he submitted to that. Could the state use that evidence? That's different from state to state, but here in Florida, if you have a DUI for serious bodily injury, they will draw, the blood. It then goes in this process, not by the hospital typically, but it would go to like FDLE, sort of a state level FBI.
Final thing, if Fox fires him, does Sanchez have a claim that I'm an alcoholic and you can't fire me? They fire him. They want to fire him. They fire him because they're going to fire him.
They've probably put him on leave because of
Right.
what's in a contract, and he's going to get fired. And that, and that's going to be the biggest sanction. And the criminal defense lawyer, that's what they're going to say, right? They're going to come in and say, "Hey, this conduct was horrible. He has a substance abuse problem. If you're representing him today, I would tell him to get in the facility today, so that if we got to a sentencing hearing in 6 months, we could show 6 months of sobriety and career. That's career suicide."
Interesting stuff. Great work as always, Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. That is Sports and Courts. Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it. We're going to talk Gator football after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
I'm Holt Harrell. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were shocked that some lawyers get more from a case than their own client. After paying bills and costs, if we are supposed to get more than a client, we won't. That's the Harrell and Harrell promise. When we say that we treat our clients like family, we mean it. If you've been in an accident, call us today. 251-1111. Harrell and Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists returns with their free bumps and bruises evaluation clinics this season. Now with 4 locations, these free injury assessments are open to all schools and athletic programs. Saturday mornings through October from 9 to 10 at Cortex Sports Performance in Ponte Vedra, Preferred PT in Fleming Island, and Brooks Rehab on Centurion Parkway and World Golf Village.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hi, I'm Amber Frangie. You know that other Frangie? Well, he's my dad. But I'm here to tell you about how much I appreciate the Awaken 180 weight loss program and how it's changed my life. Like a lot of folks, I let myself go a little. Not proud of that, but it happens. And I wasn't sure what to do. I've tried a lot of other weight loss programs, but they just didn't work. Not like Awaken 180. Can you believe I've lost 70 pounds in less than 4 months? With Awaken 180, there's no medication, no shots, and no side effects. And best of all, really fast results. You eat the food that's provided, and it's really good food. You work with a coach on a regular basis who guides you through the whole process. I'm never hungry. In fact, I never feel like I'm sacrificing anything. Just living a totally normal life. That's my new normal. And now, in October, they're offering free consultations. So there's no reason not to call them and learn more. Call them at 844-346-1800, or you can visit awaken180.com. It really has changed my life, and I bet it'll change yours too. That's Awaken 180.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
Now, the Performance Painting High Performance Play of the Game. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Although he dons the number 0, with his play so far, Devin Lloyd's nickname should be Mr. Clutch. In the third quarter, the Jacksonville linebacker would pick off Patrick Mahomes and return it 99 yards for a touchdown, giving the Young Guns a 21-14 lead with 2:19 left in the period. The pick six score is your Performance Painting Play of the Game.
Hi folks, Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting, repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner with honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Back to Acoyle & Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it, too.
More and more people are getting the word out, by the way, about Coyle & Sons. One of my friends from the athletic community, the college athletic community, is giving them a call. I can tell you that, to help them do stuff. They certainly did a lot of stuff, and they're doing more fencing at our Bragan baseball complex coming up before the end of the year. Actually redoing all the fences on all the baseball fields. So 904-356-4821. The word is out if you want fencing. Coyle & Sons, a proud partner of the Jaguars, and really, really good partners of ours as well. Coyle Jacks, Coyle Jacks.com, and find out about the best fencing company in town. I can guarantee you they are that. All right, let's get to the Gators. We never got to them yesterday. We weren't here on Monday. I think it's great that he had them ready to play, and they were ready to play. The defense is legit, and the defense will keep them in games just about even when, I mean, they didn't have Caleb Banks, and they didn't have Aaron Gates, and it almost doesn't matter who they don't have. Ron Roberts has done a nice job with them. He blitzed more than I've ever seen him blitz, and it wasn't that delayed blitz. I mean, it was real blitzes. I thought
don't go too much into detail with that, because Florida may see these guys again.
Yeah, that's.
Could you believe he said that?
Yeah, Billy Napier said we don't want to talk much because we may see him again. I don't know which because do they still have the Bluebonnet Bowl? Maybe that's what they're going to play. I haven't seen a good Bluebonnet Bowl pairings
it's tough
yet.
to get tape now.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, I guess it is. So, but may see him again. But I will tell you, they were ready to play, and it's inexplicable how DJ Lagway has looked so bad before and now looked so good in that game. It's inexplicable. Something's not right. I still say what I've said all along. And by the way, Billy Napier finally did play three wide receivers together. Between the two rookies, Vernell Brown and of course Dallas Wilson and Trey Wilson, you got three really good players. Don't play two 270-pound tight ends every snap. I know he loves his 12 personnel, but he finally got away from that a little bit. Because Jacoby Jackson wasn't available, he had to give the ball to Jaden Baugh 20 times. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done that. He's just old school. You got to rotate. You got to be big. And I hope he gets away from that. Having said that, I don't think they're going to win this week. I think A&M is going to beat them. And then I think the hot seat stuff comes again. And then I think regardless of what happens against Mississippi State, I think if they lose to Georgia, if they lose two of the next three, I still think he's going to be fired. I think he's going to be fired then. So I'll tell you right now, my opinion is that he will be fired after losing to A&M and Georgia, both of which I think he's going to do. That's my opinion. Now, if he wins one of those games, then I don't know. I think then they let it play out a little bit. So I think if he loses two of the next three, which I think they're going to, and again, I thought they were going to lose to Texas too, by the way. So, but if they lose two of the next three, which I think they're going to, I still think he's fired with 3 or 4 games to play. Agree or disagree on that?
I agree. I mean, all they did Saturday, and it was a great win. Don't get me wrong.
It was a great win. It was a wonderful win.
But all they did was guarantee they're not going 1-11. I mean, Florida plays up and they play down to their competition. So, they should beat Kentucky. But would it shock you if Mark Stoops, who's put him in handcuffs before with a defensive game plan, would it surprise you if Kentucky beat Florida? Of course it wouldn't. And obviously, Mississippi State beat Arizona State. They could easily come into the swamp and win. So I think what we saw Saturday is Florida showed that they can, at least for 60 minutes, be functional against what's supposed to be a pretty good opponent. But they still are the kind of team that every Saturday you have no idea what you are going to get. They don't play with any sort of consistency. Again, he's still under 500 as the Florida coach. So, to me, they're still a long ways off from him being off the hot seat. And I mean, you look, if he goes on some, miraculous run here, I mean, at the beginning of the season, it was, look, if he goes 8-4 against the schedule, he should have the opportunity to coach next year. If he doesn't go 8-4, if it's worse than that, he should be fired.
And I think that's where it's going to land. I think that's the cutoff. I think
so. He's down to basically his last strike.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got one more mulligan to play with.
Yeah,
but after that, it's
here's what's so strange about it, Hayes. I grew up a Florida fan. I've rooted for the Gators since Steve Spurrier kicked the field goal to beat Auburn. I used to go play basketball on my neighbor's court and act like I was Neil Walk. I mean, I've rooted for the Gators my whole life. I mean, I've rooted for Gators for 60 years. It's one of the strangest feelings I had watching this game, passionately wanting them to win, watching it with some friends who are diehard Gators. My buddy Randy, who was my college roommate at Florida, and was a scholarship member of the track team there, and we watch it. You watch it with us a lot too. Watching and super excited they won and high-fiving and they hung on and God, it felt good. And it's way easier to watch FSU Miami that night when your team's already won, which hasn't been the case always. And I'm excited and I'm thrilled, and yet there's a side of me that's uncomfortable. When have I ever been uncomfortable when the Florida Gators in front of a packed swamp beat a top 10 team? You're not uncomfortable. You're deliriously gloriously happy. It was just, that's where they are. It's not like I want him to lose so he gets fired tomorrow. I'm never going to root for him to lose. But that's the storyline of where they are, is that's how clunky and comfortable it is. Part of it is not because I just like this guy and want him fired. It's because I think we need the next guy, because I don't think he's good enough to be the Florida coach. That makes sense?
Absolutely.
It's not because fans get so angry and vitriolic, and there's F-bombs all over their timelines, and they rip anybody, and they say all this rude stuff. I've never been that guy. That's not who I am. I don't hate people and always want them fired and hope his life goes rotten. I'm not that guy. But I don't think he's good enough to be the Florida coach. So anything that happens that continues to push him toward being the Florida coach, it was just does that make sense? I'm probably not describing it very eloquently. It was just a weird feeling that it was so glorious to have won the game, but I don't know where we are, don't know what to feel. Does that make sense?
It does, and I think those feelings could be compounded because I think they've got a chance Saturday night. And, I don't believe in Texas A&M at all. I mean, you want to talk about a program that, loves nothing more than to choke when the spotlight's on them. So Texas A&M being in the top 5, being undefeated, it may not be this Saturday, but that loss is coming.
Yeah. I agree.
So,
I agree with that.
And so then I think it gets really interesting if he ends up being, can you realistically talk about firing a coach if he beats Texas A&M and is walking around as the Texas state champion, having beaten the Longhorns and the Aggies? It gets really interesting. I mean, I still think he's given the South Florida game, I think, will ultimately cost him his job, because I just don't think that they're going to be able to get to Pat. I don't think they're going to be able to close the regular season at 8-4. But I understand what you're saying, because it's almost becoming a little bit like when your NFL team isn't very good and there's this unbelievable quarterback that is going to be in the draft, and you're like, boy, I hate to pull against my team, but we kind of need that first
That's
pick.
A great comparison. What you just said is a great comparison, and I'm not going to pull against them. I will be pulling like crazy on Saturday night for them to beat Texas A&M. I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to beat Texas A&M. But your point's right. I mean, Florida's got a legitimately good college defense. I mean, they have a top whatever defense. No one would debate that. I mean, again, Miami, who might be the best team in the country, it was a 13-7 game with 3 minutes left in the third. So clearly they've got a legitimately good defense, and that's going to keep them in games. I think A&M is going to beat them. So, but let's assume, to your point, they win that game and come home and beat Mississippi State. By the way, I could see them losing a next stretch of games. I also could see them winning those 2 games, So, but let's assume they win the next 2. Now you're 4-3, and you're coming to Jacksonville to play Georgia,
and everybody's excited again.
And everybody, at least for now, is excited again, right? And so that's
because you'd only have 1 loss in SEC play,
right? Here's the reality. The reality is, and by the way, if you asked me right now to bet my money, I still bet they're going to have a losing season. I'll bet they've got 2 wins. Could they get to 4 or 5? Maybe. No more than that. So I still think they're going to have a losing season, even if that means the end of the year is an interim coach, or I could see them firing him and him coaching out the season. I could see that. I could see them firing him and then he stays, because that does happen sometimes. It wouldn't surprise me. But I just the weirdness of this season is, other than Georgia, there's not a game on there they can't win.
They can beat Georgia.
Yeah. Georgia would surprise me, even though they played them tough last year.
If they have Lagway, Dallas Wilson, VB3, and Baugh healthy for that game, they can beat Georgia.
And if you could beat Georgia, then you could beat anybody, in my opinion. Because I still will say Georgia's as good as any of them.
Don't you think that team that played Texas on Saturday would have beat Georgia?
Yeah.
I mean, the Georgia we've seen this.
Here's what I'll tell you.
Pretty
The way that team played early in the game, they certainly would have been toe-to-toe with Georgia. Am I convinced he would have closed the door on Kirby? I'm probably not convinced of that because he doesn't have 90,000 in his.
I'm with you. I think ultimately, they have enough talent to get hot.
Right.
I think ultimately Napier will make some in-game decisions that are going to cost them because the other teams that they are playing, it's exactly like the NFL. Look, those guys get paid too. Well, you can apply that to the college game now. I mean, those guys are getting paid millions on the other side too.
Right.
So they're going to have great players, and a bad decision by a coach in game can certainly cost you. But I think now that they've got Dallas Wilson back, and it looks like the rust is off DJ Lagway, and you know what Vernell Brown III is, and you know what Jaden Baugh is, and they've got a good offensive line, and the defense has been outstanding. They've got the talent to get hot, but I don't think they've got the coach to get hot.
Yeah, so I'll still predict that he is gone 5 losses in. He's already got the 3 of those losses. Would not surprise me if he finishes the season as the coach. Would not shock me because I don't know that there's a good interim there. I think that's one of the reasons it would happen.
And it seems like he's got the kind of mentality where he would take that on. I mean,
and respectfully.
Yeah. He talks it, and this isn't a criticism, but he talks endlessly about football teaches you a lot of life lessons.
Right.
So it doesn't seem like he's the type of guy that would not finish if he was given the chance. Not take the opportunity to finish with his guys.
Well, Ron Zook did that. Ron Zook's that kind of guy. He's a life lesson, care about the kids kind of guy. Now, again, I thought Zook got fired too early, but he had devastating losses by the final possession of the game. I mean, he lost to Mississippi State, Tennessee, and LSU that year in the last minute of the game. Got fired, was devastated. I know that. I'm very close to him.
Zook handled it beautifully.
Almost beat Georgia. And then ran the table while coaching the team. Blew out South Carolina, won at Bobby Bowden Field. I mean, they had an amazing finish. So I could see Napier, because he connects, to your point, connects with the kids doing it. But we'll see what happens.
Wouldn't that be great as a Gator fan if his last game is beating Mike Norvell?
Yeah, well, Zook's last game was beating Bobby Bowden.
I'll be honest. If they were playing Saturday in the Swamp, I would pick Florida.
Oh, yeah. I probably would too. Right now, we remember what just happened. If Florida played Florida State today, I would pick Florida. Florida's dysfunctional, but has a lot of good players. FSU, I'm not sure what they are. Yeah, I think Norvell's a good coach, and I think Malzahn's a good coach. But I'm not sure what they are.
They need to change things up because I think they're getting very predictable.
Well, you said, and to your credit, Hayes, you said that even before they lost a game to Virginia, that there was something about the way they played under Castellanos that left too much. They're one-dimensional. And to your credit, you said that before that game, and it's playing out that way a little bit too. So we'll talk about it. Let's take a break. We've got headlines next. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's a coast-to-coast clash as the Bluebirds get their feathers ruffled under the Teal Thunder. This time, we're back at the bank against one of the NFC's best. Jaguars Seahawks, Sunday at 1. It's a no-fly zone at the bank on the home of the Jaguars. 1010 XL.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnick Chevrolet is proud to be an 8-time Chevrolet Dealer of the Year recipient, the only dealership in Northeast Florida to ever win this prestigious award. Earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness, all part of Nimnick's Treating You Right guarantee. Visit nimnickchevy.com to learn more. For 3 generations, Nimnick has been the place customers keep coming back to. I've been buying my vehicles from Nimnick since 1982 because they care about their customers and are invested in our local community, including supporting walk-off charities, and all we're trying to do to help underprivileged kids learn to play baseball. Treating you right, giving back to the community, more choices and better prices for you. So who has put the most years and stands behind a better experience? The answer is simple. Nobody but Nimnick. Visit their showroom off Cassett Avenue or shop 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com. Head to Nimnick today. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
When it comes to glass, you don't want average. You want flawless. Duval Glass and Mirror has transformed homes and businesses across Jacksonville for over 35 years. Frameless showers that wow. Mirrors cut exactly to your style. Fogged or broken glass replaced. Decorative tabletops. Windows replaced or repaired to stand up to Florida storms. All backed by a 100% guarantee. Visit DuvalGlass.com for your free quote. There's only one name for glass and mirror around these parts. It's Duval.
When you want to be heard, send your opinion to the 1010XL text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Thank you for believing in me when the bosses didn't give me a chance.
641-1010. No texting and driving. Get your thoughts heard on 1010XL.
Rick Ballou here with a congratulations for John's Auto. They've been in business in Jacksonville for 40 years. That's right, going all the way back to 1985. Right now, they'd like to thank each and every one of you who's ever gotten their vehicle serviced at John's Auto. So, car, truck, or diesel, all makes, all models, whether it's a routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul, go to John's Auto on Arlington Road, JohnAutomotiveJacks.com.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. When you need a trailer hitch, gooseneck, or RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We've been doing it for 55 years, and customer service is our #1 priority. Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Guys, are you struggling with obesity and being overweight? Living with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, or heart disease? Encore Research is enrolling men 18 and older in a new paid clinical study. You'll receive study-related care at no cost and may get compensation for time and travel. No insurance required. Take an active step for your health and help advance medical science. See if you qualify at EncoreDocs.com or call 904-732-6669.
Jacksonville is football season, and Duck Duck Rooter is proud to be on your home team. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, we tackle plumbing, septic, and air conditioning problems with championship-level service. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com.
Hey, this is Tom McManus. If you get injured out there, there's only one number to call. Pound Law, that's all. Slip and fall, car wreck, wrongful death. It doesn't matter. Morgan & Morgan handles it all. They're the largest in the country. 100 offices, over 1,000 attorneys. $20 billion recovered for 500,000 clients. That's the kind of team I want. If you get hurt from someone else's wrongdoing, check out Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com.
Hey, it's Rick Ballou. I just upgraded my home with fantastic floors, and the experience was incredible. Rusty and the team brought the showroom to me with their at-home consultation. The whole process was simple, the installation was top-notch, and the results, absolutely fantastic. Take it from me. Don't wait. Visit fanfloors.com and schedule your at-home consultation today. Fantastic Floors, where every step is fantastic.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hayes' Headlines, presented by Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hayes Carline.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here. We've got JJ LaSelva. I am Hayes Carline. Thank you to our friends at Harrell and Harrell. Give them a call at 251-1111. They will take great care of you. Frank, we're going to start with Jaguars Seahawks. Boy, this Seattle passing game is impressive. Sam Darnold right now over 70% completion. He's third in the NFL in passer rating at 114.8. And Jackson Smith-Njigba has just been phenomenal so far, the receiver. 534 yards receiving. That is second in the NFL. So a big challenge for this Jaguars secondary.
Yeah, you've said it all along that don't be asleep at the wheel after you win a gigantic game because you have another gigantic game coming up. We all said this. We all said after those first 3 games, they had a 4-game gauntlet. Right? And we knew that they had a 4-game gauntlet at San Francisco, obviously home the other night against the Chiefs, home against Seattle, and then in London against the Rams. And we said, you take 2 and 2. Well, I wouldn't now. Okay. Okay. But
now we're greedy.
But the reality is that 4-game stretch was real. That was the point. And Seattle's got a good football team. There's no doubt about it. They've been very good. Remember this now. They're 3 and 2. They lost a nail biter to start the season to San Francisco, and then a nail biter to Tampa Bay. I mean, they've won 2 games very comfortably. They won easily in Pittsburgh, and then of course they won 44-3 over a bad Saints team. But to your point, they're pretty good. That's the bottom line. This is a darn good Seahawks team coming in on Sunday.
Without a doubt, Liam Cohen met with reporters earlier today and talked about how the Jaguar pass defense needs to get better.
We definitely have to be better than we were the other night in terms of we had some communication errors in the back end. We did have a few, one-on-one opportunity, type plays that we didn't end up coming down with. But I do have a lot of confidence in those guys back there. What that looks like from a rotational standpoint, I think we'll know a little bit more in the next day or two. I thought Travis makes a good play on Kelsey on the 3rd down. Monteric makes a huge deflection on a big-time play. Jarian Jones gets in at the end of the game, makes a tackle at the end of the game. So all those guys, I think, are going to continue to play and get reps and opportunities. And what that looks like from a rep count standpoint, I think we'll know a little bit more throughout this week.
That was a terrific play by Monteric Brown.
Yeah.
He had just come into the game. Travis Hunter was limping around a little bit, came in and a long crossing route in the middle of the field, reached up with his left hand and knocked it away. That was a really good. We didn't talk about. There's so many other plays.
It kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did. That was a really good. It was a really good play and a really important play.
Without a doubt. Let's get it to around the NFL. Joe Flacco will start Sunday for Cincinnati. That means he will face Green Bay for the 2nd time this season. Cleveland beat the Packers 13-10 in Week 3. Flacco, the former Browns quarterback, traded yesterday, will now start against the Packers again for the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this or not, but I just found this out that when this trade was about to be consummated, the Bengals actually picked between 2 Browns quarterbacks. It was either Flacco or Otto Graham, and they chose Flacco because he was
They
the
went
young.
with the wrong choice.
He was barely the younger of the two, so that's an odd deal, isn't it?
I think.
And by the way, Joe Flacco's been a wonderful player in the league.
He has,
but this is
he
a very
wasn't playing well for Cleveland.
It's become an old Joe Flacco. Remember last year he was pretty good even here, but it's become an old Joe Flacco.
But I mean, we don't often see situations this dire in the NFL. He literally is going to have like 2 days of practice with Cincinnati and then start against Green Bay. So it could be a real bloodbath when the Packers get a hold of the Bengals on Sunday. The Colts might catch another break as Arizona quarterback Kyler Murray didn't practice today with a foot injury. The Cardinals would start Jacoby Brissett if Murray is inactive.
Yeah, the Cardinals are a hard team to figure. Every year, every time it feels like they're a little bit better, they're kind of not.
That was an inexplicable loss to the Titans.
Well, people have to quit dropping the ball at the goal line. I mean, at some point, some coaches got to say, if you don't still have it in your hand 5 yards into the end zone, I'm going to fine you. Not just at the goal line. If you don't put the ball away and have it 5 yards into the end zone, you're going to get fined. That can't keep happening, can it?
No, it's got to stop. Let's get it to Major League Baseball. Aaron Judge homers to lead the Yankees to a 9-6 victory over the Blue Jays, staying alive in the series, now down 2-1. Game 4 is tonight at 7. What happens?
Let me ask you this, Jay. JJ, were you watching when Judge hit the home run?
It was very epic, man.
When Judge hit that home run, did that crowd look like it looked like a...
It reminded me of old Yankee Stadium.
Honest to God, it looked like a college football game. It looked like a Premier League game.
I mean, their season was on the brink. They were down 6-2 at one point. It was 6-3 when he comes up with 2 men on base. It was like, if he doesn't get a big hit there, their season's over. I know it was a little early in the game, but that's what it seemed like. It was epic.
Watching it live, it looked like, and they did a great job of putting the cameras in the crowd. Fox did. Hayes, it was like Buck Belue to Lindsey Scott. I mean, the crowd was crazy. So, listen, I've picked the Yankees the whole time. I'm not going to stop now. They haven't been the better team in the series, but I'm not going to stop now.
Imagine if that is what ignites them to go on and win the rest of the series.
Can you
that
imagine?
would be insane.
I mean, and by the way, you're probably gonna tell us that in a minute. I'm getting ahead of you, but Tigers and Mariners.
Yeah, bottom of 5, tied at 3.
Yeah, I mean that's Seattle leads the series. Boy, I hope the Tigers win just to see that thing continue on.
They were down 3-0 in this game. They just came back in this inning.
I hope the Tigers win because I'd like to see a 5th game. That's for me.
Do you guys? There's 4 games today. Do you guys think the Cubs or the Phillies can stay alive?
I've said all along I thought the Cubs and the Dodgers would win, so I'm going to say the Cubs and the Dodgers are going to win today.
Yeah, I think they'll both keep the series going.
But
at the end of the day,
I'm going to say the Dodgers sweep.
Okay.
And the Cubs keep the series going. You think both series continue?
Yeah,
on?
I think both teams down 0-2 win today but lose the series.
All right, very good. And we will get you out on today's musical note. On this date back in 1988, this is like one of my favorite pieces of music trivia.
Okay.
And it's obviously a fantastic song. So on this date back in 1988, Pink Floyd's iconic album, The Dark Side of the Moon, finally drops off the Billboard Top 200 chart after a record run of 741 weeks.
Wow.
The album was released in 1973 and has sold over 45 million copies. 15 years it charted after its release.
How about that?
This is Eclipse.
Oh, wow, how about that?
Yeah, which wraps up the album.
Yeah, I'm not as good a Pink Floyd fan as I should be. So when I'm talking about Rumors and Hotel California and the original Boston album, the great albums of all time, I should put it in there. I don't because it just doesn't resonate with me, but one of the great albums of all time. Well done, as always. We'll take a break. More in a moment. Hour 2's next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here for my friend and insurance agent, Craig Dewhurst. Craig has been helping families on the First Coast with their insurance needs for 25 years as your good neighbor and local State Farm agent. Now is a great time to review your insurance policies, whether you need auto, homeowners, or renter's insurance, or insurance for your golf cart, boat, or jet skis. Craig handles all of my family's insurance needs, and even better, he gives back to the community. Call Craig today at 904-940-9740. That's 904-940-9740.
Get straight talk from D-Rock.
So let me get this straight.
Mike Duraco.
And we get his insight every Thursday from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today. Opened by Lee and Kate's Glass. Guaranteed greatness since 1926 on 1010XL.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barra here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barrier Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to BarrierOrthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barrier Orthopedics.
It's time for the Plumbing 411 from Superior Plumbing and Pipeline. It's not just annoying when your toilet keeps running long after you flush, it's also costly because it could waste hundreds of gallons of water a day. A running toilet's often caused by worn-out flappers, corroded valves, or a faulty float. Superior Plumbing and Pipelining will fix the problem fast, which can help lower your water bill. Stop the running and start saving today. Make the superior choice when your toilet won't stop running, and learn more at SuperiorPlumbingJacks.com.
Go! There's a new story written every Friday night in every hometown in America.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Friday Night Lights.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks. With over 1,700 five-star Google reviews, it was a no-brainer to have Closets by Design help us get organized at home. They create custom storage for every space, lifestyle, and budget. From closets to garages to laundry rooms and more. Closets by Design will transform clutter into seamless organization. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and get 40% off plus an extra 15% off with free installation, but only until October 31st. 18-month financing is available. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Get ready, poker players. The World Poker Tour is coming back to Best Bet Jacksonville from October 30th through November 18th. It's your chance to become a World Poker Tour champion with 14 different poker tournaments to play, including the Best Bet Scramble, a $5,000 no-limit hold'em main event with a $1 million guarantee. Satellites and mega satellites are going on now at Best Bet Jacksonville. For the full WPT schedule and more information, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Hi, it's Frank Frangie. You hear my buddies Dan and Jeff talk about that great food at Daly's Dash all the time. Jeff loves that Duval, and Dan loves the Boss. And they're right, both are terrific. But I can tell you they have so many excellent options at Daly's Dash. Salads and flatbreads and tacos and quesadillas, you name it. And of course, those fantastic subs and sandwiches. I just had the Italian sub. It is so good. The thing is, Daly's Dash is really committed to their food and committed to making it perfect for you. Everything is fresh, made to order every time. And there's so many Daly's locations in town, no matter where you are, there's one near you. I love to pop in and grab a sub at lunch, or maybe after a round of golf, or maybe even after calling one of those Jags games. There's never a bad time to stop into Daly's Dash and grab that great, great food. So head there today. Take it from Dan and Jeff, or take it from me. They say it's nicer here. It really is. And the food is delicious. Head to Daly's Dash today.
Game days aren't the only win happening in the 904. Best of Bold City named 904 Gutters with a Z, the #1 seamless gutter company in Duval. Like the team's O-line protects their QB. Call the winning team at 904 Gutters with a Z to protect your home from the rain.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Kuhn Flowers. The Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers began their quest to hoist the Stanley Cup for the third consecutive season last night, taking down the Chicago Blackhawks 3-2 with goals from Jesper Bokvist, AJ Greer, and Carter Verhaeghe. They'll be at home tomorrow night at 7 o'clock against the Philadelphia Flyers. It's 83 degrees at 5 o'clock, time in 10, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, Hammer Time with Hayes, driven by Kia on Atlantic. Southside Kia is now Kia on Atlantic. Check us out at KiaOnAtlantic.com.
Bill Belichick has been a gargantuan embarrassment at North Carolina, and this will be his only year there. He will be one and done. You're seeing reports that North Carolina is now investigating NCAA violations. How is that even possible anymore?
I got a kick out of that.
Yeah, all that tells you is North Carolina is desperately trying to find a way to fire him with cause and not have to pay him a $20 million buyout. They're going to be able to find it. His whole crew, it's amateur hour, so chances are they probably may even have done something, but even if they haven't, the North Carolina officials will be able to figure out something that they have done improperly, and they will fire him for cause, or they'll at least threaten it, and they'll say, Bill, either resign or we're going to fire you for cause, but you're not getting the $20 million. And there is no chance Bill Belichick coaches North Carolina in 2026.
I totally agree with that. And by the way, shame on all of them if they don't find a way to make that happen. It's one of the most unmitigated disasters I have ever seen in college football. And let me tell you my thought. Bubba Cunningham's a good AD. He's been a good AD. He hasn't been able to figure out football because it's hard to figure out football on Tobacco Road. It just is. And he's tried a lot of. He's been the AD for a lot of coaches. He was there for Butch. He was there for my buddy Larry Fedora. He was there to bring Mac back. You know, he was there for a lot of stuff. I can tell you, I know someone who's close to Mac Brown, and Mac's enjoying this.
Sure.
I can just tell you, I know someone who's very close to him, and Mac's enjoying this. I don't mind out of the box stuff when you're in a somewhat untenable situation, and that's what North Carolina's in. I wish it had been Gruden. I wish it had been some other out-of-the-box thing. I never believed Belichick had anything left, and I certainly never believed he could do it at the college level. The end of the Bill Belichick story will be one of the most bizarre that we've ever seen. That the falling out with Brady, Kraft, desperately wanting to get back into the NFL, and no NFL teams having any interest at all. So much so that he couldn't even find a good college job, so he took the North Carolina job, and then he agreed to take it. And then you can date whoever you want. I don't care who you date. But the fact that this 70-year-old is dating this 24-year-old and it's so public, and the 24-year-old seems to embrace how public it is and prefer how public it is. What a bizarre end to the career of a great, great coach. You know, Chuck Noll lost a little bit at the end. Tom Landry lost a little bit at the end. Vince Lombardi finished in Washington, didn't even finish with the Packers, and it didn't go very well. But it wasn't this. It was hard. It's really hard. Not just the fact that it ended badly. It ended so weird. It's going to end. You're right. There's no chance he's back next year. Shame on any of them if he's back. Now, regardless what the buyout is, regardless. shame on any of them. If
they might write the $20 million check anyway, but I think that they're trying, and I would assume the AD is leading this effort, trying to find ways in which they can fire him for cause and save the $20 million.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's just a bizarre. So we'll see what winds up happening. As we move forward, let's get to the Noles for a second. Why is Florida State is flawed? I say it's flawed. They lost a really good Miami team. But why does it appear they're not as good as it appeared when they play, in your opinion, when they played Alabama?
They're highly predictable offensively, which, again, makes a lot of sense as to why Mike Norvell didn't want to show any of his cards, and he got criticized for it. I criticized him for it, but it worked in game one. Alabama wasn't ready. Alabama didn't really know what they were going to run, and they ran it well, and they beat the Tide in a convincing manner. But the more that Florida State has put on film, the easier it is to figure out that they really only have a couple cards that they play. And I think that is going to only get more exacerbated as the year plays out, because Castellanos, for all of his moxie, and he is quick, he just is very limited in what he can do in terms of running an offense. So, when they get in a bind, all right, they're going to run the reverse, and again, against Alabama, that worked. Now teams are prepared for it. They know it's coming. There's just not that much offensively that I think they can really go to. And if they're at all behind in a game, they're in trouble. I get it. People are going, well, they outscored Miami 19-0 the other day. Yeah, but they also had a drive when you're down like 3 possessions that took 8 minutes off the clock. I mean, so yeah, that drive ends up being a touchdown drive, but really it was a terrible drive because you used up 65% of the remaining clock to get the one score. And
Miami was happy for that to happen. They weren't upset that they went on a 96-yard, 12-minute drive.
Exactly. So I just think that Florida State will be okay when they play a team and they can get up early and they can sort of hold on. But I also think defensively they're not very strong either. I mean, I think that has sort of shown up, that they're not as good in the trenches as maybe what they showed in week one. I do think they've got some tackling issues in the secondary. So I don't want to put it all on the offense. I just think that they're a very mediocre team, but they're incredibly easy to figure out with their offensive personnel, what they're doing. And again, that's only going to get worse as the season goes. I would not be surprised if Pitt beats them. I mean, again, what is his record in ACC games? This last, he won one ACC game last year. They beat Cal.
Well, I think they're
and he's 0-2.
He's 1-9 in his last 10.
I mean, that's you want to talk about somebody who shouldn't be coaching his program.
Yeah, well,
I mean, how is Mike Norvell still coaching FSU when he's won one ACC game in the last calendar year?
Well, and the reason is because he had the 2 great years and then the one awful year, so people don't know if it's an anomaly or if it's who he is. But I will tell you, I saw a stat that it took when they entered the league in '92. I want to say it took 11 years to lose your 9th game.
Wow.
I think it was 11 years.
That makes sense.
I think it was around 11 years before they lost their 9th game. It might not. It maybe is 8 years or something like that.
A long time.
42-9, and now they're 1-9. And so, but here's the bottom line.
And then again in that league.
Yeah, that's right. And good point. Well, here's my take on the Noles. They're 3-2. They got off to the great start by beating Alabama handily. Then they had the 2 gimmies. Then they lost a dramatic game to Virginia on the road. And then again, kind of got rolled by Miami, regardless what the final score was. Well, here's the reality. If they're back to being close to Florida State, they're not Bobby Bowden 14 straight years in the top 4 of Florida State. But if they're back to being one of the better handful of teams in the ACC, which you expect them to be every year, well, you'll know it in the next 3 weeks because they play Pitt, at Stanford, Wake Forest. Well, if they're Florida State, you win them all and you don't think twice about it, and you go, and all of a sudden you're 6-2. And in today's day and age, if you're 6-2, you're pretty good. Okay, you don't have to be 8-0 to be good anymore. I mean, there's a lot of good teams. There's more parity. So if you're Florida State, and if you're what you expect Florida State to be, you'll beat Pittsburgh at home. Stanford, you got to go out there, but they're not any good. And then you come home and play Wake Forest. So you win those 3 games, you're 6-2, and then you got to go to Clemson. Then we'll see.
By the way, I have that stat for you.
Yeah.
It's Insane. Florida State has lost 9 of its last 10, like you said, in the ACC. When FSU joined the ACC in '92, it took over 13 years.
13 years. That wasn't
to
11.
lose
It was
9 conference
it was
games.
13 years.
The record was 101-9.
That's incredible.
Okay, I said 42-9. It was 101-9.
And
Okay.
this ACC isn't much better. It's better.
Yeah.
But it's not much better than that ACC.
Yeah, no,
in the 90s.
So again, if they're Florida State, now we'll know. Because if Florida
if he
State
loses Saturday to Pitt,
yeah, well, and again, really, if he loses any of those 3,
well, I would agree.
because if you lose one of those 3, you're probably losing at Clemson, who's starting to find themselves a bit. So my and by the way,
definitely going to lose to Florida.
Yeah, your last 2 are at NC State and at Florida. You know, and my gut tells me it's going to be like Zook. My gut tells me Napier's going to be fired to keep coaching the team. That's what I think is going to happen. So if that and I know that's unusual, but that's what I think is going to happen. If that winds up happening, then it'll be his last game there with those kids in the swamp, you know? And by the way, Gator fans all want Billy Napier fired. They don't hate him. They just want him out. So there'll be a good crowd that day, you know, if it comes down to that. So we'll see. But again, the next 3 games, in my opinion, Pitt, at Stanford, home against Wake Forest, we'll see. I haven't given up on the fact that the Noles might be pretty good. I'm not convinced. I think Miami's really good, like really good. So I'm not convinced that they're not pretty good. I wouldn't be shocked if they're 6-2 after those 3 games. But if you're back to being Florida State, you'll be 6-2. We'll take a break. More college football coming up. Shane Matthews, Tom Block, and Joe Zagacki after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
He's down on the ground. He is down.
A freak injury can wreck a football team and affect their championship dreams.
Wait, you're telling me I'm about to lose my #1 wide receiver?
Listen for the personal injury attorneys Farah and Farah Injury Update.
Jacksonville.
On 1010XL.
I'm Renee Harrell. At Harrell & Harrell, we understand when you've been in an accident, there's a lot to handle. You've lost pay, and now the medical bills are piling up. When there isn't much insurance, some attorneys will pay your bills, take their fee, leaving you with even less than them. Not at Harrell & Harrell. We'll work hard to reduce your medical bills, and we promise our fee will never be more than you take home. Call us today, 904-251-1111. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
He caught the game winner from Danny Warfel and never looked back. Former Gator Chris Doering joins Dan and Jeff on The Drill. Tuesday mornings at 7:20 on 1010XL. Protected by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah.
This is Jaguar Hall of Famer Tony Baselli telling you about Heritage of North Florida, Jacksonville's premier roofing and home remodeling company. With over 25 years of trusted experience, Heritage of North Florida has built a reputation for quality, reliability, and craftsmanship. Whether you need a new roof or updating your kitchen or bathroom, trust the pros at Heritage of North Florida to create the perfect place to call home. Mention Jaguars to get $1,500 off your next roof or kitchen remodel when you go to heritagenfl.com. Go Jags.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
San Jose Collision in Mandarin is proud to be an I-CAR Gold Class collision repair facility. That means they meet the industry's highest training standards. Experience the difference at San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Jacksonville's building a fence along the goal line. This is the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Devin Lloyd was masterful in the Sunshine State versus Kansas City. The Jacksonville linebacker tallied 2 tackles on Monday night to go along with an interception, which he'd returned for a touchdown. He was the kid with his act down pat. Number 0 was yet again a hero, and he's your Superior Fence and Rail's defensive Player of the game.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Bring your marketing to the next level with 3D Digital, your local video production and digital marketing agency that specializes in ensuring your brand story is seen, heard, and remembered. Our award-winning team creates professional content that will be launched across multiple platforms to precisely target your audience. Call us at 904-712-4004 or visit 3ddigital.com to define, design, and deliver exceptional results for your business.
Pickett here. Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139, plus a free haul, and take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning. Book online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and take advantage of these huge savings.
When you roll into a convenience store for some cold Bud Light, you want to make sure it's, well, cold. Check out the big coolers at Circle K. They make sure it's chilled and ready to go for the big game or party. Swing by Circle K and pick up some cold Bud Light.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Time now for the State Farm College Football Report with Shane Matthews on the Gators, Tom Block on the Noles, and Joe Zagacki on the Canes. Presented by your local State Farm agent.
All right, let's start with the Gators. It's brought to you by State Farm agents Mike Nickus, Ron McCann, Mike Tozzle, Kathy Scott, and Jason Duty. Shane Matthews joined us. Shane, what in the world changed? Why all of a sudden did this team was so dysfunctional look so good against Texas on Saturday afternoon?
We're back, Frank. We're back. No, look, that's the best game that I think Billy's called. I think it's the best game that any of his teams have played in his 4 years. I will say this, though. Texas's offensive line is one of the worst SEC offensive lines I've seen in 5 or 6 years.
Right.
I was shocked. But it was a great win for the Gators. The crowd was amazing. They obviously helped a lot of those false starts, putting Texas behind the chains. But, look, Frank, we still ran 12 personnel. We still shifted. We still motioned. But the bottom line is we blocked them up, and we threw completion, and we executed. And that was a big difference.
Shane, can Dallas Wilson keep this up?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and I saw him in the spring game, and then saw him, before he got hurt in the other preseason practice. I was like, he's an Ohio receiver, a ton of them in the league, but he's just a big, strong, physical guy, and obviously they could tackle him. And a big body, big frame, big catch radius, but I'm sure teams, the more they get him on tape, are going to try to take him away in different aspects. But, yeah, he's a special talent.
Shane, you said still 12 personnel and the shifting and the motion. I think in the second half, but it did feel like in the first half they went to more 11 personnel, and he threw it down the field a few times. And did it feel that way to you, that at least he changed it up a little bit when the game started? It seemed that way to me.
Yeah, and I think DJ got rid of the ball quicker in this game, and I don't know, Frank, if they said, "Look, you're gonna throw it to this guy no matter what," because we kept the ball outside.
Yeah,
the hashes outside, the numbers, kind of safe throws, and I thought he looked a lot more comfortable. Obviously, on that second drive, we ran a little naked bootleg, and about 3 steps after the fake, you could tell the hamstring or the calf or whatever it was, and then he was hampered I still thought Trammell was coming in the game. Because they were checking him out in the tent like after every series. So it was a great win, but, man, we got a big challenge this week.
Absolutely. What concerns you the most about Texas A&M?
Their defense. I don't know if I've ever seen a stat. Their last 2 games against Mississippi State and Auburn, the opposing teams are 1 for 24 on third down. That is a crazy stat. And, the crowd's going to be phenomenal there. It's going to be a tough challenge. They're very well coached under Mike Elko, but you never know. I mean, heck, we could get some. We got to make some plays. We got to make big plays on the road.
Shane Matthews checking in from the Gator Radio Network. Thank you, Shane.
Guys, take care.
All right, let's head to Tallahassee now. Tom Block checks in from the Seminole Radio Network. His report is brought to you by Craig Dewhurst, Ramey Alabu, Margie Williams, Scott Hobson, Brandon Thomas, Randy Taylor, all State Farm agents. Tom, that one got away from the Noles early on. Miami's really good. I was surprised it was 28-3 when you looked up. I liked FSU in the game. What did you make of the big lead that Miami was able to build there?
Miami's really, really good, as you just said, but it was disappointing. I thought Florida State offensively would be able to do a little bit more. So I think that goes to the defense of that Miami Hurricane team. And also 2 weeks in a row, too many turnovers. You know, you can't have 3 turnovers against anybody, let alone a top 3 team in the country and expect to win. But I think for Miami, it was just how they would have drawn it up. You know, they got the lead early, kept the crowd out of it, put the pressure on FSU, and, you know, really the polar opposite of the Alabama game for FSU. When things went right for the Noles, they played from ahead. The crowd was raucous. Wasn't the same story here, and credit to Miami for that.
Tom, as we look to Saturday's game against Pitt, what do you think will be the biggest challenge that Pitt will provide for FSU?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is that the way Pitt plays defense and their philosophy, they bring an extra player to literally every down. They force the action, and so they gamble, and sometimes you're going to beat them on that, and you'll get a cheap one. But if they get a tackle for loss, they basically blow up a drive and force you to punt. So Florida State's got to have some options that are not quite as vertical down the field. If their running game gets bottled up, you know, they got to find some underneath stuff or give some easy options for Tommy so they can move the chains, because what you don't want to do, it's a 12 noon game. You don't want to give Pitt any hope and have them hanging around and the crowd not really into it. You want to find the offense that you had earlier this year, get the crowd enthused, and play free and play the way they did the first few weeks of the year.
Tom, final thing here. That's kind of my question. Who are they? Look, FSU was really good for a couple years there, really bad last year. Looked like they sort of had found themselves this year by blowing out Alabama. Now I'm not sure. I would think these next 2 or 3 games are going to tell us all. How confident are they that they've kind of resurrected what was happening last year? Are they better?
Yeah, they're definitely better than last year, and I don't think confidence is an issue right now. But as to, are they the team that beat Alabama or the team that looked the way they did the first 3 quarters against Miami? You know, the truth to me is always in the middle. So that kind of puts us back to where we thought they would be at the start of the season, which is better than last year, but, you know, not necessarily a playoff team or a championship team yet. But I do think, and you know, this has been a common theme last year. So many players turned over from last year's roster, and the attitude and the effort of this team has been good from, you know, really the start of the first quarter against Alabama to the end of the game last week when FSU was still fighting. So I don't have concerns about that. I do think that they're not as talented as ultimately you need to be. Miami clearly had a talent edge last week, and so there's still room for improvement there. But they need to get back to being better than the sum of their current parts right now, and I think they'll do that this week.
Tom Block from the Seminole Radio Network. Thank you, Tom.
You bet, guys.
Let's head to Miami. Joe Zagacki, the play-by-play voice of the Canes, joins us. His report is brought to you by State Farm agents Carissa McCullum and Gene Coleman. Here's what I'll tell you, Joe. Great win for Miami. When I watched the Matt Leinart USC teams and maybe the Ken Dorsey, that really good Miami team, they look like NFL teams. I mean, they just play like NFL teams. They have a playing style. They have an NFL-looking quarterback. I see 2 NFL teams every Sunday, so I know what it looks like. This looks like an NFL team to me, not just a really good college team, but they play that way. Do you see that when you see this Canes team?
It's funny you say that, Frank, because I was thinking about that today, and I see it in their entire operation. It starts with the size and physicality, but even the quarterback, you know, Carson Beck is 6'4", and he's under center last week. So I thought that was pretty cool. He's under center, working a play action game, and that's a professional way to play your offense.
Without a doubt, Joe, Malachi Tony has just been remarkable. What's it been like getting to know him, and what kind of an element has he brought to this Miami offense?
Miami hasn't had that kind of player since Santana and Sonoris Moss, a guy that can catch the ball and do something with it. So he's been a great addition. They call him Baby Jesus, I guess because he performs miracles or he walks on water. But, you know, the defining moment of that game, by the way, last week was Fitzgerald's interception and then Malachi Tony on the flea flicker for the touchdown and both of those guys are true freshmen.
Joe, and I'm just going to follow up on Tony, too, because I've got him written down in my notes, too, to ask about. Did you know he was that good? I mean, he should be in high school, by the way. He came out early from high school to do this. Did everybody know they were getting – this guy's really – he's Tyreek Hill. Did everybody know you were getting this?
I thought he was pretty good, Frank, only because he goes to American Heritage High School, which is about 8 minutes from my house. So I saw a lot of him play. And last year, they had a quarterback there, Dia Bell, who was recruited by Texas as a 5-star player. But he got hurt. Tony went in and became the quarterback and took him to the state championship. So I thought he was pretty good. I thought he was elusive. In fact, I saw him play a game against the quarterback that's on Miami's roster right now and the freshman quarterback that Miami has. They played against each other. But I thought in high school, Tony was really, really good, and delighted that he's a Miami Hurricane.
Bain and Mesidor just isn't fair. I mean, they were fantastic again the other night. I mean, Bain gets obviously a ton of credit, and deservedly so, but is Mesidor one of the most underrated players in the country?
Probably, but that might be his own doing because Mesidor has had great talent. We just haven't seen it on full display for whatever reason. He's had some injuries, maybe with attitude, I don't know. But under the guidance of Jason Taylor and Mario Cristobal, they've gotten the best out of Mesidor. And by the way, there were, 42 dropbacks in that game against Bain and Mesidor, and somehow there were no holding calls in that game.
You didn't need them, Joe. You didn't need those holding calls.
Yeah. I guess not.
Miami looks good. They look like if they're not the best team in the country, they're certainly in the conversation among 2 or 3. The Canes continue to roll on, and now another off week this week. Joe Zagacki, the terrific play-by-play voice of the Canes. Joe, thanks, buddy.
All right, fellas, thank you.
All right, that is Shane Matthews talking Gator football. Tom Block talking about the Noles. Joe Zagacki on the Canes, and boy, the Canes look good. Back in a moment. This is 1010XL. When we come back, Kevin Kaplan joins us by phone. Our medical report is next. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Florida Gators football. Gators! The Gators bring swamp style to the Lone Star State.
Falls loose at the 38. Gators got it.
Florida, Texas A&M. Saturday at 7 on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010XL.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. Showtime is now an official PSA grading dealer 2 days per week, Wednesday and Sunday. You can bring your raw cards into Showtime to submit for PSA. Seth can review your cards and mail them off same week. It's Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Big Chief Tire makes auto care more affordable with 6-month financing through the CFNA credit card. Frank Frangie here. Plus, get $50 off your first purchase when you sign up. Whether you need new tires, brake service, or general repairs, their expert technicians have you covered. With no interest for 6 months, now's the perfect time to take care of your vehicle. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to apply today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods, a Jacksonville family business for nearly 70 years. Heck, I've been talking about them for over a decade. The Thompson family secret, Dandy's never frozen, always fresh baked bread with quality meats and cheeses, no dry crumbly subs here, only soft and tasty deliciousness. When I see that logo with the little dude with the cane on the label, it tells me I'm getting a trusted brand, a quality sandwich. So do what I do and stop in at a Daly's and make yours a Dandy today.
Hi, I'm Amber Frangie. You know that other Frangie? Well, he's my dad. But I'm here to tell you about how much I appreciate the Awaken 180 weight loss program and how it's changed my life. Like a lot of folks, I let myself go a little. Not proud of that, but it happens. And I wasn't sure what to do. I've tried a lot of other weight loss programs, but they just didn't work. Not like Awaken 180. Can you believe I've lost 70 pounds in less than 4 months? With Awaken 180, there's no medication, no shots, and no side effects. And best of all, really fast results. You eat the food that's provided, and it's really good food. You work with a coach on a regular basis who guides you through the whole process. I'm never hungry. In fact, I never feel like I'm sacrificing anything. Just living a totally normal life. That's my new normal. And now, in October, they're offering free consultations. So there's no reason not to call them and learn more. Call them at 844-346-1800, or you can visit awaken180.com. It really has changed my life, and I bet it'll change yours too. That's Awaken 180.
There's a storm brewing in Coral Gables. Find out which way the wind is blowing.
I'm JJ LaSelva. When hurricane news blows, you'll hear about it on the Performance Painting Hurricane Report.
On 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. Hurricanes happen in Florida. That's not news. But what happens even more often than hurricanes are home break-ins. And if security is important to you, you might want to look into hurricane-rated impact windows.
What you may not know is that hurricane-rated impact windows not only help protect your home in case of a hurricane, but they also offer another level of security for your home.
Have you seen those videos on YouTube that show people trying to break through an impact window? A thief is way too lazy to spend his energy trying to break through one of our impact windows. That's why he doesn't have a real job like you. He'd rather break your non-impact window while you're at work. Window World has high-quality, very affordable hurricane-rated impact windows to help protect your home from hurricanes and from lazy thieves.
Call us today at 904-443-7001. Get a free estimate and see for yourself. You save energy, get more security, and the windows add value to your home. With all Window World windows, you get the best guarantee in the window replacement business.
Window World,
simply the best for less.
And thank you for your business.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, today we talked more college after all Jags yesterday. We certainly talked about the Gators, their concerns, the Noles, their concerns, and we'll how both those teams will play as they move forward. We heard from Shane Matthews, Tom Block as well, and Joe Zagacki, the play-by-play voices of Florida, FSU, and Miami. And, of course, Brett Hastings stopped by to start the show with sports and courts and the Mark Sanchez situation, which is really, really crazy. And that's where we've been over the course of the program today.
Now time for the medical update with Jaguars team physician Kevin Kaplan, presented by Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville.
All right, Cap joins us by phone again this week. He's got stuff to tend to, so it is brought to you by his operation, Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, the best in the business if you need orthopedic help. Kevin, how are you, buddy?
I'm great. How are you guys doing? Another win, huh?
We're 4-1, bro. Of course we're doing well. So there's that. So, hey, when Kevin comes with us, he can't get into the specifics of Jaguar injuries. He certainly talks about other injuries going on around the world and updates. But now we do know Trayvon. Obviously, you couldn't talk about it last week. I'm not sure anybody knew last week, by the way, whether he would play or not. He was not able to play. I won't get into whether he plays this week or not because, again, that's not something we don't talk about. But now that it's behind us, I will ask you about swelling. We now know it's a dislocated wrist. That's been out there now. What happens, generically speaking, Kevin, when that seems like a really odd injury, and you know Trayvon's a tough guy? What generally happens when you hurt a wrist like that and the swelling, it kind of seeps in?
Yeah, you got to get the swelling down. You got to comfortably be able to use your hand in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, we have ways to protect that. But, obviously, and I tell these guys all at the beginning of the year, it's always about the players' safety first, making sure they can safely go back to play. And then once we get them comfortable and the swelling's down and the risk is lower, then we can get them back on the field. And then it becomes, less a question of once the safety issue is passed, then it becomes an issue of how effective are they going to be on the football field. And that's more along the lines of a coaching decision. We have our medical decisions to make, and then once we kind of release them, then they go with their coaches and they kind of figure out, is he able to effectively go out there and do what he needs to do on the field?
Yeah, so follow up, and I'm glad you said that. Are there times, you've done this 17 years, so I know there are times, but are there a lot of times when you'll go to the coach and say, listen, and I don't know if that's the case with Trayvon, by the way, I'm talking generically, I can clear him. He's not going to injure it worse, but because of pain tolerance or or how he's got to play with whatever mechanism I give him, a brace or a club or whatever. It's up to you. I'm going to clear him, and then you have to decide whether or not he'll be. Does that happen a lot? I mean, is that over your 17 years? Is that kind of a thing?
Yeah, I think it really is. The coaches, and fortunately enough, I've been around the coaches that have been in the building have been very medically friendly. So I haven't had to face that situation where, a coach says, this guy's got to play, get him on the field type of situation. It's very much medically oriented where we say, okay, here's the injury, here's what the risks are, here's when we think it'll be safe to play. And the coaches are all very much on board saying, okay, you let us know when you think it's safe and reasonable to go. And then they may ask follow-up questions like, well, what are his limitations going to be? What are the possibilities here? And from a medical standpoint, I can tell them. Obviously, I can't tell them, is he going to be able to come off the edge quicker? Or is it going to limit him this and that? I can only give, what are the possibilities in terms of the medical risk. And then they have to make, once we say it's okay to go, they have to make that final decision. Is it better to have X player or is Y player better, at this point based on the injury? And that goes for anything, whether it's a wrist, a knee, a shoulder, whatever the injury may be.
In terms of quad injuries versus hamstrings, we've talked a lot about how tricky they can be, how stubborn they can be. Are quads easier to determine, or are they every bit as hard to predict as a hamstring injury?
All soft tissue injuries come with a gray zone of when will it be ready. It's location of injury, it's severity of injury, and it's the actual muscle being injured. And we can follow, our NFL literature. We all have access to a database of these guys because these guys are different. I mean, if I injure my quad playing pickleball, it's not going to be as long of a recovery or as big of a risk for me to get out there and do it again. Whereas these guys, explosive, athletic guys that need to get out and do their job. And so we've looked at all of our NFL athletes over years longer than I've been in the team position, where we can look at that database and say, okay, if this muscle is injured in this location and in this severity, whether it's 5 centimeters and 10% of the muscle, what is the range with which a player can get back to play? And it's super helpful for us, and we still keep track of that. And as we better our technology with things like platelet-rich plasma and all the different modalities, we're still always looking. Does that shorten the recovery a week? Does that take it from 4 weeks to 3 weeks or 6 weeks to 4 weeks? And so we're always looking at our database, being able to tell the coaches within reason, hey, is this probably 4 to 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks or bigger than 10 weeks, for example?
Kevin, I got a question about quarterbacks here. And it's a big generic question, but Kyler Murray hurt his foot. He could be down. Joe Burrow's down for a long time. We know that. Obviously, Lamar's down now for a while. They've put in more rules than ever, and I'm glad they have, by the way, to protect quarterbacks. I mean, you got to be really careful with quarterbacks. Can't hit them low, can't hit them late, which is good, though. I'm not criticizing. It's a good thing. But, boy, quarterbacks seem to get hurt a lot. Do you feel like, is it because they're stationary and everybody else is moving? I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, that's the one position where they're never initiating contact. They're the only guy on the field, other than kickers and punters, that will never initiate contact. Why do we have so many quarterback injuries, in your opinion?
I think you could argue many reasons why. I think it's, they're in the pocket, they're not moving, but on the contrary, there's also times where they're the guys that are moving. When I see someone scramble outside the pocket and you got 4 guys coming at him, and one guy may be diving down, one may be going high, we're seeing these mobile quarterbacks that are moving around the pocket. A guy like Tom Brady was very, somewhat stationary in the pocket and would get rid of the ball quick, whereas a Lamar or a Kyler may try to keep the play alive, and it gives guys more time to come up the middle or to rush on the outside where they're getting these major impacts. So I'm wondering if it's more the actual mobility and the ability of these guys to keep a play alive that, again, this is just hypothetical, that may be putting them more at risk for a big hit.
Yeah, that's interesting. In terms of offensive linemen, if they are dealing with a hamstring, is that a little easier to manage than maybe a running back receiver?
Yeah, I think, yes, in some ways. Obviously, with a wide receiver or a skill player, they really have to be able to plant and aggressively push off and go, and that's very explosive. But at the same time, a lineman has to be able to sit back and do a set block and really engage their hamstrings in a different way than a wide receiver and a DB. So, a hamstring is a hamstring regardless. It's a muscle injury, a muscle tear most of the time, and they still have to be able to engage. And if a guy has a hamstring, is not able to push or to plant and block, or a defensive lineman can't push off to get around the edge, it still can grab and cause as much of a problem as say a wide receiver.
All right, keep them healthy, Cap. We're healthy, right? We've lost some guys, but it seems like just about every game we play, most guys are available. We know Brenton Strange is down, but for the most part, I would say it's still, even though guys were dropping like flies on Monday, I still think it'll be a relatively healthy team we put on the field Sunday, right?
I think so, and knock on wood, and we're very fortunate. And again, kudos to the coaching staff, to the athletic trainers, the strength and conditioning guys. There's a lot that goes into it, and if we can keep, the guys, it's a war of attrition sometimes. And if you can keep the same guys out there, they'll gel better, they'll keep playing well, and hopefully we can keep stacking the wins.
All right, Kevin Kaplan, Jaguar team surgeon. That is our medical report. We do it every Wednesday on the program. Cap, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys. See you Sunday.
All right, Kevin Kaplan, the official team doctor for the Jags. It is brought to you by Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville. If you have orthopedic issues, they are the folks to call. We'll be back to wrap the program after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
NFL Week 6, the Giants home at MetLife Stadium on Thursday night facing the Philadelphia Eagles. Giants 1-4 now with rookie quarterback Jackson Dart under center. While the Eagles at 4-1 are coming off a home loss to the Denver Broncos. Philadelphia has won 7 of the last 8 meetings in this division rivalry, and they're a 7.5-point road favorite. They're minus 450 on the money line. The Giants plus 340, and the over-under sits at 40.5. The NFL international games continue Sunday. The Denver Broncos in London against the New York Jets. Denver favored by 6.5 points, minus 380. The Jets plus 290, and the over-under at 43.5.
Cash back for every bet with a G-Bank signature Visa card. VSIN.com/GBank.
I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Jacksonville is game time. And just like the Jaguars fight for every yard on the field, Duck Duck Rooter fights for every customer at home. From plumbing repairs to septic pump outs to keeping your AC cool all season long. We've got the winning playbook. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and delivers championship service every time. When plumbing, septic, or AC problems put you on defense, don't fumble the call. Dial 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter, when you're stuck, call the Duck.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Lauren Brooks here. Tired of shaving and waxing? At Hello Smooth Med Spa, laser hair removal permanently reduces hair growth for smooth, stubble-free skin. It's life-changing. With over 400 5-star reviews, they're Jacksonville's trusted choice. Learn more at hellosmooth.com.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
The Alhambra Theater and Dining brings you an evening of wonderful food and live theater and fun. October 9th through November 16th, come enjoy the award-winning musical from Charles Dickens' final unfinished novel, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, an interactive show where the audience gets to choose the ending. The Mystery of Edwin Drood promises to be an entertaining night for you, family, and friends. Get tickets at alhambrajacks.com. alhambrajacks.com.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. The online banking services are outstanding. So easy to use, depositing checks through the mobile app is fast and efficient. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards for 3 years running, and it's easy to see why. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
This football season, Hurricane Grill and Wings is your game day getaway. Catch every play with the perfect drink in hand. Handcrafted cocktails like the Millionaire Margarita, Spicy Guavarita, Old Fashioned, or the Red Bullerita. Beer more your style to watch the games? Enjoy an ice cold Bud Light. Game day cocktails and Bud Light specials are here all season long at Hurricane Grill and Wings. Find a restaurant near you at hurricanewings.com.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Football season is finally here, and with that, hopefully comes cooler weather. And if you've been wanting to upgrade your outdoor living space and just haven't pulled the trigger, you should call the experts at Lifetime Enclosures right now. From glass lanais to screened-in enclosures, Lifetime Enclosures and Flooring is the best in the business. Give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Fences come in all shapes and sizes. It's not just as simple as build me a fence. That's where Duval Fence steps in. They've got it all, from vinyl and aluminum to chain link and quality wood fencing. Duval Fence has been part of Jacksonville since the 70s, and their work stands up to the test of time. Companies come and go, but serving the community as a valued business partner means something to Duval Fence. Residential, commercial, large industrial projects. Check out DuvalFence.com for the local original fence company.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Back to a Coyle & Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it too.
I can just let Billy go.
I mean,
wow.
Talk about dropping. Bombshell.
I mean,
this is fantastic.
I mean, we're good, but we're not Billy.
Oh.
I mean, we're not Billy good for crying out loud.
Piano Man.
Yeah, I mean, just let Billy go.
You know, I think there is about 5 minutes left before crosstalk, and that's exactly how much time we have on the song.
Oh my goodness, love Billy, love me some Billy. But is he going to be okay? Do they know?
I think so. I unless something's changed.
I haven't heard anything negative.
Yeah, it was always going to be a few months,
right?
Which it still is in that range, and and so unless unless something's changed, it seemed like he was going to be fine.
I think we've had to talk before on the show. If I could see one more show from someone who's only going to do one more, I think maybe I've seen Springsteen way more than I've seen him. And I've seen the Eagles way more. I think I'd see Billy.
It's a good call.
If I could see like one more, if you say, okay, you can see one more show. This is going to be that person's final show, and then that's it. It's going to be Saturday, and then that's it. I think that I'd see Billy Joel. Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to argue
because every song.
Yeah.
I mean, you can sing Billy Joel. You can sing along to every song. By the way, Billy Joel, everybody can sing to every song.
Right.
I mean, I might can sing every Springsteen song, and you might can sing every Depeche Mode song, and you might, but you know what I mean. But everybody can sing all the Billy songs.
Sure.
Yeah, we all can. We all can just sit around and do that.
And his songwriting was so simple. You know, you're not like looking too deep into the lyrics.
That's
like,
right.
what does he mean by this?
Right.
It's just
that's a great point.
Straight up.
That's a great point. You're exactly right. Did you say you saw a new story about Belichick a minute ago?
Well, just that it does seem like the story is starting to move pretty fast. That there may even be a negotiation now going on where Belichick is willing to take less than the $20 million to basically go away. Yeah. So it sounds like it's now becoming almost a mutual thing.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder: are we a day away from just a resignation? And North Carolina finishing the year with an interim.
Yeah, I mean, it almost kind of feels like it is that way, doesn't it? I mean, you kind of get the feeling.
You kind of get the feeling he may have coached his last game there.
Yeah. I mean, how
last game of his career?
Yeah.
I mean,
if it is,
I mean,
I couldn't imagine him getting another job after this.
Yeah, I mean, it really.
Yeah, it's over.
It does feel that way, doesn't it? So no, and by the way, he's still like the 10th highest paid coach. You realize that? He's like, he's like the 10th highest paid. He's like the USA Today just came out with a coaching salary. He's like the 10th, which is hard to believe. I mean, again, I'll say it again. I said it a moment ago. I understand why. I mean, I understand why you pay him because you're North Carolina and nothing else has worked, right? So why not try it? Here's the list. Kirby's first at 13. Ryan Day's second at 12.5. They've got titles. Lincoln Riley, third. Dabo's fourth. bunch of guys with titles. Sarkisian at 10-8 is 5th. Lanning is 6th. Do you realize Kalen DeBoer is 7th? The 7th highest paid coach in America?
Yeah.
At 10.
Well, I mean, he was the national runner-up when Alabama hired him.
Yeah, that's right.
So he was incredibly
good
high.
point. Brian Kelly, 8th. Belichick is 9th. Bill Belichick is the 9th highest paid coach in all of college football.
So they're going to get basically for, I mean, however many, it's at least $10 million, and we'll see what they pay him to walk out the door. But they're going to get 2 wins, and none were against Power 4 teams.
How about that?
That was a good investment.
Wow. He's the 9th highest paid coach in college football. You know who's 10th?
Kiffin?
Lane Kiffin.
I think Heupel and Stoops make that too. So I think there's a bunch
they're
of
all
guys.
there together.
Yeah. But yeah, Kiffin makes a lot of money at Ole Miss.
Billy's 24th. And by the way,
he's overpaid.
And realistically, and it's a Florida Stombery moment, maybe, and maybe I'm wrong, but the Gator coach should never be 24th. Never be 24th.
I don't care if he's the worst coach of the university's history.
Right.
That's crazy.
The Gator coach being the 24th highest paid coach. That's just not right.
Well, he probably wasn't when he was hired.
Yeah.
But he's done nothing to deserve a raise in 4 years.
No, I'm with
and
you.
so you've had
That's my
4
point.
years of hirings where guys, or extensions, guys that have done good things.
And that's kind of my point.
Yeah.
That's kind of my point.
So I'm sure when Florida makes their hire in December,
it won't be 24th.
It will be somebody that's in the top 7.
Especially if you're paying Lane, you can't give him the same amount
Correct.
that he got at Ole
You got to
Miss.
bump Lane to like 12.5.
Yeah. In fact,
which is so funny because I remember when the world lost its mind when Spurrier made $1 million.
I do. Yeah, I do too. I do too. By the way, the word is it'll take north of 12 to get Lane. And why wouldn't it? He's got all the leverage in the world.
Right.
Of course, you're not like JJ said. You're not leaving for the same money,
right?
I mean,
right. And no matter how much you want the job, and no matter how convinced you are that this job will give you a better chance to win that title, you're not leaving for the same money. Yeah, you're really not. So it'll be interesting to see the whole thing. I just again. God bless Bill Belichick. I mean, one thing I just read said he's trying to get out, but he wants to make sure he's got either another coaching job or a media job lined up. News bulletin, Bill.
Yeah. It's amazing how
unless you want to go coach Inglewood High School,
right?
I don't think the coaching thing's going to happen.
It's amazing.
And by the way, let me just tell you, I'd take him in Inglewood.
Yeah.
I'd take it. Just so you know. I mean, I don't know if he'd be my first choice.
We're
but
willing
I'd
to overlook what happened in North Carolina.
Yeah, I'd settle for him in Inglewood.
Yeah. His grip on reality is slipping. He'll get the media job. I mean, he'll have lots of opportunities to do the media thing. No one is going to hire him to coach football.
Yeah, I mean, really at any level.
Yeah, I think he'll be great on TV.
Yeah. And he'd be perfect now. No one has got stories to tell. No question about it. All right, let's say hello to Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Talking about Belichick.
Are you?
Yeah, I got Belly.
Yeah. Worst college football coach of all time?
I mean, doesn't this have to be the worst hire ever?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's going to the NFL in a year unless he plays himself out.
No one in the NFL is hiring him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hiring him.
I mean, could he do any wrong in Atlanta again after the interview process? Go back to the New York Giants? Go to Miami?
No, they're not hiring him. You think, huh? You think they might?
I think there's a chance. But he's certainly not helping himself with what's going on right now in North Carolina, though.
FSU question.
Yeah.
Are they? Who are they? I mean, the next 3 games. If they're FSU, they'll win the next 3 games. Pitt, Stanford, and Wake Forest. If you're back to being FSU, you win those 3 games, right?
Yeah,
is that too simple?
They're not FSU. I mean, they've lost 7 straight ACC games. They're 1-9 in their last 10.
No.
Mike Norvell has lost 13 of his last 15 against Division I opponents. And he started today's press conference by saying, today was a good response practice. We've had a couple of good response practices. What in the hell is different from this than any other week? He's lost 13 of 15. They beat Cal 14-9 a year ago in Tallahassee, 284 yards, and they beat Alabama. Okay? They've lost 13 of 15, and he says this is a good response practice. They face adversity every freaking week at Florida State. Yet the local writers, they all picked them to beat Miami. The local writers won't dare respond and ask, hey, Mike, it's the same old week after week, buddy. But, I'll do it here in Jacksonville. They won't do it over there in God's country.
Serious question. Could he get fired this year? I mean,
they can't afford to fire him.
They still can't.
They can't afford to fire him. No one cries poor like Florida State.
I mean, I'm serious now. Even if they go 4-8, they can't fire him.
They're
not going 4-8. That's a dumb question. You know my point.
I don't know how they can afford to fire him. And you know what? This fan base, man, I mean, you talk about, they're like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. I had a buddy who showed me a text line last week.
Yeah.
You know what one of the major topics was? Do we rush the field if we beat Miami? Okay? That was one of the major questions. And another one came up to me and said, well, you know what? Yeah, we spotted them 25 points. We lose 28-3. But if we didn't turn the ball over, we would have won. Well, you turned it over 3 times. Here's what I got for you. If I wouldn't be freaking fat if I didn't eat, okay? It's the same thing. 3 turnovers, 0 turnovers. So I don't know what to tell these Florida State fans, man. But Mike Norvell showed up with 2 black guys today, too. No idea. No idea what's going on. He looks like a beaten man. Mike Norvell has aged like a United States president.
Would it be okay with you if Hayes and I just sit in here? We won't talk. We won't talk. We just want to listen.
That's all coming up tonight. And by the way, we got a brand new building here.
It is great.
They brought in food. Someone just came and left trash all over my bin, all over the floor.
Trash?
Okay, trash can. And I got to clean it up because God knows I all blew out and left a mess. But someone just ate here and left crap. This is a brand new building. And someone leaves this stuff all over the floor, all over my desk, all over the place. I got a picture to prove it. I'm pissed off.
I'm not leaving. I'm sorry, JJ. I'm staying here. I won't talk. I'll turn my mic off.
We've got a good alibi. We've been in here for 2 hours.
That's right. It's
not us.
Yeah, I'm not leaving. Okay.
Yeah.
This is vintage Baloo. I'm staying right here. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'll see.
We'll go get a sixer and we'll just enjoy it.
Right. Oh, Baloo's next. Don't go anywhere. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.